Perhaps of the main thing about a product organization is you need to figure out PC design, and quite possibly of the main thing about PC engineering is you can manage the cost of one. Similarly, as probably the biggest organizations on the planet just have two working frameworks, the single biggest organization on Earth just has two. How could it be conceivable that such countless organizations have so many different PC structures, and they have 7 or at least 8 guidance sets that they're keeping near? We have one guidance set, we have one PC engineering, and we're really focused about that. Thus, where we should be engaged, we are, where we take into consideration advancement and disclosure at the senior level. That's what we permit. Thus, I think the organization's tightened and coordinated in a manner that is reliable with the idea of our work. That is truly significant, and that is likely the action item for what I've realized building our organization. There is no non-exclusive design for each organization. It ought to fit the capability of the organization, its motivation, and obviously, the authority style of the pioneers. Definitely, I feel that is a truly significant note that a great many people don't actually understand. That an organization ought to nearly be a tailor-made structure supporting the chief and their staff, and the manner in which the organization is conveying to clients, versus continuously being something very similar. What's more, I feel that gets lost a great deal. Precisely, better believe it. It's a few specific bosses that you want, and a few bosses that you really want, and a few bosses that you do require, definitely. In any case beside that, you ought to begin from first standards and engineer something that seems oak for the pioneer as well as the capability. No doubt, definitely. At the point when I was at Google, they had the renowned Zero 2010, where it resembled 80% center, 20% center contiguous SL new stuff, and afterward 10% was trial. Do you have any system or ways of pondering that stuff, or is it only similar to? We should find out what naturally is utilized as far as this conventional stage that we've warped with NVDA and different things that are worked in to assist with supporting a ton of purpose cases. Furthermore, as they arise, we say, all right, we should go help that new thing. I have no savvy structure like that. There are 2 or 3 things that our organization has molded and organized to do. There's one section. An extremely huge piece of our organization is intended to construct incredibly confounded PCs flawlessly. Thus, that is one of its missions, all right. Also, that sort of engineering, that sort of association, is a development and refinement association. Then, at that point, we have an entire pack of skunk works, maybe, and the justification behind that is on the grounds that we're attempting to create things 10 years out that we're not precisely certain regardless of whether they will work, and there's a great deal of variation, a ton of turning. Thus, our organization really has 2 unique approaches to working. One of them is somewhat natural, shape-moving constantly. In the event that a specific venture isn't working out, we abandon it, move the assets elsewhere, as that is the light-footed piece of the organization. Then there's a piece of the organization that is not inflexible, yet entirely it's truly refined. Thus, these 2 frameworks need to work next to each other. Container is perceiving that quantization, the mathematical configurations has a considerable lot of development and capacity to diminish on the grounds that it's factual in any case. Furthermore, presently the inquiry is, what sort of models could be made and prepared? Furthermore, we accept that 8-cycle drifting point as opposed to, on the off chance that you take a gander at logical registering today, 64-bit drifting point. So by simply separating 64 into 8, you could expand the exhibition of a computer-based intelligence supercomputer just by an element of 8 by not doing 64-bit. So that is very nearly an element of, maybe, a component of 10 in only 2 or 3 ages, by simply perceiving that 64-cycle drifting point wasn't required. Thus, one of the enormous things is that. The subsequent thing is the transformer motor. The transformer motor is so all-inclusive, thus valuable, that it's workable as far as we're concerned to plan a pipeline that is molded for learning and inferencing transformers. So those are most likely the 2 greatest things. In any case, it's the biggest chip the world's consistently made. It's the quickest chip the world's always made, and super energy proficient and utilizes the quickest. I got to hinder with a truly entertaining story that happened as of late. McDonald's in. Elon remarked on this, and he said that he had no clue about that this was going on and added, "All things considered, I will have some. Only for you to be aware. The primary connection in the portrayal. Click on it if you need to purchase this Nvidia keychain." I couldn't say whether this is a cooperation, yet Nvidia in China has posted about this, and furthermore McDonald's in China posted about it. In any case, in the following 2 or 3 years, this item could try and sell for a large number of dollars. We don't get that many opportunities to purchase interesting collectibles like this. In any case, find the connection in the portrayal and rush, since we have only 100 pieces left. And afterward, we interface an entire pack of these things together so that it's quick and energy effective. Be that as it may, those are somewhat savage power things. However, the AR, the huge design thought, is FP8 and flow, and the transformer motor. Also, when you contemplate then, at that point. So that is the, large undertaking refinement part of the organization. What's the more lithe piece? Similar to what's the inconceivable application you're chipping away at today that is 10 years out and you believe is probably going to be significant? I'm dealing with a lot of them, yet there's an entire pack we're chipping away at that don't work right now. Be that as it may, I have a great deal of certainty it will work. Okay, so for instance, independent driving is as yet gaining ground. However, I have each certainty that it will work. I have each certainty that a mechanical establishment model will be found, and that through articulating your thoughts utilizing human language, you could cause a mechatronic arrangement of practically various kinds of appendages and deafness to have the option to sort out some way to twist itself, articulate itself, to do a specific undertaking. I can't really understand. In any case, I can't see you. I simply don't have the foggiest idea. We need to find our direction there. In any case, something we truly do know is that we know how to gain from organized and unstructured data, language, pictures, and obviously the following huge thing is video. Also, in the event that we could simply watch video and gain the construction from the video we're watching, we could possibly figure out how we understandable, and we could possibly sum up that and be the verbalization framework for robots. So you were chipping away at this gigantic arrangement of uses before the ongoing flood of man-made consciousness. What was the first specialized benefit of NVIDIA in man-made consciousness? And when did you start to understand that this would have been a significant use case for you folks? Thus, we had extended the adaptability of our gas pedals to be more universally useful, and we imagined another registering model called NVDA. Also, we're doing this webcast at like 4 o'clock or something to that effect in the early evening. It was at the absolute bottom of energy, right? No doubt. So we needed to make our designs processors increasingly broad. The justification behind that to start with was on the grounds that a portion of the impacts we needed to do connected with broadly useful picture handling. Post-impacts. You render the picture, and you do post-picture impacts and different applications, obviously. We needed to rejuvenate the scene. Thus, we needed to do material science handling, molecule physical science, liquid elements, etc. Thus, we extended the gap of our sped-up figuring stage to be increasingly more universally useful. The issue with broadly useful is that the more broadly useful you are, the less speed increase you get in a specific space. In this way, you need to find that line actually cautiously. Furthermore, that is one of the gifts of our organization, to track down that line between, from one perspective, each and every age, bringing tremendous measures of speed increase far past what a computer processor could do to the application. Thus, on the off chance that you become too universally useful, you're very much like a computer chip. How might you speed up a computer chip with a central processor? Thus, you need to figure out how to strike a balance. Then again, on the off chance that you don't extend the opening of the applications that you serve, the research and development dollars that you're ready to create wouldn't be sufficient to remain in front of the central processor, which had the biggest research and development financial plan of any chip in the world. Thus, in the event that you ponder this issue, it's very almost unthinkable on the grounds that you have a little application. We should call it, $1 billion market at that point. What's more, Out of that billion-dollar market, your effective financial